As President of the Council, Belgium will lead the European agenda and promote cooperation among Member States. And the aim will be to strengthen the European Union and make progress in several areas, such as biodiversity in this specific case. And to do so, Belgium needs to act as a neutral mediator, and we need to seek compromises among Member States. As for most United Nations negotiations, the EU speaks with one voice. So the rotating presidency chairs the EU and is responsible for the functioning of the EU before and during the meetings. Negotiations are collaborative efforts involving the presidency, the Commission, and all Member States. The presidency must really have a strong team on site, as we will be responsible for the EU coordination, the negotiations, and the representation of the EU, as well as the logistic support for the entire EU delegation. The Belgian presidency team will include a full delegation of experts and negotiators from all Belgian entities and the federal. The CMS COP14 is the 14th meeting of the Conference of the Parties of the United Nations Convention on Migratory Species of Wild Animals, what we call the CMS or the Bonn Convention. CMS is a global agreement on the conservation and sustainable use of migratory animals and their habitats. The CMS has 133 parties, including all EU member states and the Commission. Its COP meets every 3 years and it brings together governments, scientists and stakeholders to build up internationally agreed coordination measures for migratory species throughout their entire range. COP14 has a slogan which is "Nature knows no border." This is crucial as most countries, including Belgium, put many conservation efforts within their territories, but the fate of migratory species is also very much dependent on how these species are managed throughout their range. So the COP14 slogan reflects the importance of transboundary cooperation for biodiversity conservation, restoration and sustainable use, but also for ecological connectivity and cross-border protected areas. This COP will focus on a series of other issues, including habitat restoration, as well as threats to species such as overexploitation, habitat loss and fragmentation, poisoning, pollution, climate change, and also the interactions with infrastructures such as the ones for energy. Additionally, COP14 will deal with specific species or groups of species, from the African elephant to the jaguar, vultures, marine mammals and turtles, and will aim to take decisions to address the challenges faced by each of these. It will also launch major new reports and guidelines, including the first report on the states of migratory species and the new guidelines on light pollution. The Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, also known as the GBF, was adopted at the end of 2022. It provides a United Nations-wide framework for urgent and transformative action to halt and reverse biodiversity loss. And the CMS COP14 is actually the first international biodiversity meeting since the adoption of the GBF. The CMS was already actively involved in the negotiation process for the GBF to ensure that all aspects related to migratory species were well captured. But now the contribution of the CMS with its focus on migratory species and their habitats is highly important for the implementation of the GBF. In fact, it will not be possible to reach the objectives of the GBF without the implementation of the CMS. Specifically, during this COP of the CMS, many important decisions will be taken on lots of the GBF targets we need to achieve. For example, one of the key focus will be ecological connectivity as an essential aspect of nature. Ecological connectivity is vital for the survival of species. It ensures their genetic diversity, but it also helps them to adapt to the global challenges such as climate change. Another significant topic on the agenda is addressing the various threats that contribute to the decline of migratory species, and this includes issues such as bycatch, vessel strikes, poisoning, habitat degradation and fragmentation, and pollution. And pollution in this particular context encompasses a wide range of factors such as chemical, pesticides, plastics, light and noise. The conference will explore measures to address all these pressures. We will also discuss a zero-tolerance approach to illegal killing, taking and trade of migratory species and all associated organized crime. As a last example, monitoring and assessing the state of migratory species is also on the agenda, and it's really key to guide decision-making and conservation efforts. So we need to get ready for some big decisions at the CMS COP14 to make a real difference for the planet. The results will contribute to the global efforts for migratory species across the globe and will also be direct contributions to the achievement of the GBF. If I can conclude with one last step, that is, once all these international decisions are taken, we need to transpose them at the Belgian level. And this is currently being done as we are updating our national biodiversity strategy. And in this process, we need to ensure that all the targets of the GBF are well covered, as well as special attention to the migratory species is given.